Hey, travel advisor, when was the last time you audited your Instagram account? I recommend auditing at least once a quarter because let's be real, it can get off the rails sometimes. No matter what level of competency you're at with social media, it is always a good idea to check in on your profile now and then to make sure that your content, your bio, your feed all align with your overarching business goal, which is to attract more leads, more bookings, and more clients to your business. So things can get off the rails sometime. Let's be real. Even for me, when the going gets tough and things get busy, we can get a little bit scatterbrained. So it's always good to check in to make sure that things still align with where you're trying to get to. I'm going to walk you through how to audit your Instagram bio, your feed, your stories, and your content strategy to make sure it all makes sense for your business. Now, it's a 4-part checklist. I'm going to walk you through how to audit your bio, your feed, your Instagram stories, and your content strategy to make sure that you're in good shape. So let's get started. First things first, let's look at that bio. It's the first thing people see when they land on your profile. It's that first impression, and you want to make sure it's on point. If you're an independent travel advisor, I recommend using your face, a beautiful, bright, inviting photo of yourself, because you want to build trust right from the jump. If you are a brand or a bigger agency with multiple travel advisors, make sure that you have a good high quality image of your logo in the photo. Next thing is your handle and your name. Try to avoid special characters or unique spellings for your name, your business name, and for your handle. You want to make it as easy as possible for people to find you and for them to search for you. And it's going to be really hard for them to search for you if they can't remember how you spelt that one word because you used some letters and some numbers in it. So where at all possible, keep it as simple as you can. Try to avoid underscores or anything that's going to make it difficult for people to remember how to find you in the future. The next thing is your bio. You want to keep it clean and simple, and you want people to know who you are, who you serve, and how you serve them. So try to avoid using any overly smart ways to describe what you do. Because as much as it's fun for us in the industry to be like, I am a magic maker or an adventure curator, people might not know what that means. So keep it simple so they know exactly who you are, what you do, and how you can serve them. This is how you allow people to self-qualify. You want them to land on your Instagram bio and be able to say, oh yeah, this intrigues me. And it looks like this travel advisor can deliver the type of trip that I want. The next thing is to make sure that your bio has a clear call to action, whether it's to go to your website, read your latest blog post, download your lead magnet or your ebook, or see a video that you created on YouTube or something. You want to give people somewhere to go and make it worthwhile. So this is a good place to break out that lead magnet if you have one, because you want to capture people's attention and capture their information if at all possible when they land on your profile. Of course, with that call to action, you should have a relevant link. So if you are using that call to action to send them somewhere, make sure that link is up to date, that it's easily clickable, and that it takes them to where you want to get them. Now let's talk about that Instagram feed. First things first, let's talk about those images. Now, the last thing you want to do on Instagram is use images that are low resolution. So make sure that your images are sized. I recommend making sure that they're bright, they're easy to see. And there are 2 main sizes on the Instagram platform. The Instagram doesn't have very many size restrictions. It will usually just kind of resize your image to fit its platform. You can do wide images, you can do tall images, or you can do square. I recommend using the square image option, which is 1080 by 1080, or the portrait option, which has a little bit more height to it. That is 1080 by 1350. Now, I don't recommend using the wide option because this actually squishes that photo and it uses up less space in the feed, which ideally, if you're going to post, you want to take up as much space in that feed as possible. At the end of the day, when in doubt, just make it square, stick with 1080 by 1080. That will get you the best results, but it will also make sure that if you share anything with text, it doesn't get cut off in the feed. The next thing you want to make sure you're doing in your feed is using relevant hashtags and geotags. So every time you post, you should be using hashtags and you should make sure that they're relevant to the photo, that they're relevant to your ideal client, that they make sense for your business and for your niche. And if you are in a specific place, it's always a good idea to tag a geotag of that place so that photo can be found by more people. Next thing is your captions. Every one of your captions should have a hook and a call to action. A hook is something that you use to grab people's attention. So it could be a question or a bold statement or a polarizing statement or, hey, can I tell you a secret? Can I share something that I've never said before? Or what do you think about this? You want to hook people in, and you also want to end every single post with a very clear call to action. That could be as simple as, hey, comment below and let me know your thoughts. Or it could be as technical as go to this link and download this lead magnet. But every single post is an opportunity to get your followers to take action. So don't miss out on that opportunity. Make sure that every post has that hook so you can grab people's attention and that you end off with a clear call to action at the end. The last thing in your feed is making sure that you're keeping your content conversational. Don't forget that social media is a social platform and that while you're here to promote your business and talk about travel, your ideal client is here to have conversations about lots of different things. So try to avoid sounding like an overly polished travel brochure and try sounding more like you would talking to an acquaintance or someone you've just met and having a real in-person conversation with them. Okay, let's talk Instagram stories. First things first. Are you posting in your stories regularly? Stories are a great way to grow your know, like, trust and to connect with your audience. So I recommend posting in stories 3 to 5 times per week. If you can swing it every single day, heck, I recommend doing it because it's going to mean more reach and more visibility for your business. The next thing is, are you showing up in your stories on camera as often as possible? Now, the majority of your stories should have you in them because you're trying to build that know, like, trust at the end of the day. You can get away with sharing beautiful travel photos and running polls and doing some other fun things, but I recommend that the majority of your stories have your beautiful, trusting face in it so people get to know you, the person behind the business. Okay, next thing. When you post stories, make sure that you're using relevant hashtags and geotags. So the same goes for your feed posts. You want to make sure that you have hashtags that are relevant. You can use the text tool to add multiple hashtags to your stories, and you can geotag it with one geotag. So if you're at a hotel or in a specific destination, I recommend anytime you post a story where you're in a physical location that you use that geotag tool. The next one is engagement stickers. Engagement stickers are no joke. They may be a lot of fun, but they're a great way to get your audience talking back to you. So when you're doing a chunk of stories, so more than 3 stories in a row, I recommend using those stickers interspersed to get your followers talking back to you and to get that back and forth flowing wherever possible. It could be the poll sticker, it could be the question sticker or a quiz. The poll sticker is a good place to start. It's an easy one for people to engage with because they only have 2 options, but make sure that you're using those stickers to your advantage. And the last one is making sure that there's a call to action in every single one of your Instagram stories. So every single time you're doing a series of stories, in the last story, you should be prompting your followers to engage with you or do something. So it could be as simple as comment below or vote in my poll or use this sticker to tell me what you think. Or it could be as elaborate as head on over to my website or my blog to read about this post I just talked about or to download my lead magnet. But make sure that every single time you show up in your stories, when you're doing a series of stories, that you do have a clear call to action at the end of them. And I recommend that most of those calls to action be very soft, that they be that engagement or that talking back and forth. And then you can save the hard call to action, the downloading of lead magnet, booking a call for 20% of the time. Okay, let's talk about the last thing, which is your content strategy. First things first, get clear about how you're going to show up. Is it going to be in your feed? Is it going to be in Reels? Is it going to be in stories? I find that when I commit to showing up in the beginning of the month, I put together my plan and I say, this is how many feed posts I'm going to do. This is how many Reels I plan to do. And this is how many times I plan to go live. It gives me a standard for how I'm going to show up that month. And it gives me a benchmark, a goal to work towards. But it also helps me to look at my content with a bird's eye view and think to myself, what does my audience actually need? What do they want from me? And what can I deliver to them that will give value, that will entertain them, that will inspire them, and help them feel more connected to me and my business? So, same thing goes for you. How can you show up strategically, and how can you do it in a way that's going to make sense for you? Because it's not the same for every travel advisor, but I recommend starting there, figuring out how you want to show up and setting a benchmark for yourself on how you plan to show up. Okay, next thing, are you a part of your content? As part of your overarching content strategy, you need to be a part of your social media content. You, yes, you, that beautiful travel advisor who's sitting on the other side of this right now, watching this video. You need to be in your feed with photos, with videos. You need to go live if you can. Do a reel now and then or post an Instagram story. What's important is that people are getting to understand and they're getting to see who the human behind the business is, who that person that's doing all of the work for their vacation. They want to see and they want to know who that person is. So as part of your content strategy, you need to be a key ingredient. The next thing you want to consider is the ratio of the content you're putting out there. 80% of your content should be about you and about your business. So you're showing people what you do instead of selling them on what you do. And then you're leaving the 20% for your promotional content, the hard calls to action. But what's important is that 80% of the time you're laying the foundation for that 20% when you're actually going to sell and helping them understand what you do, how you can help them, and how you solve their pain points and why they want to work with you over everybody else. So following the 40-40-20 rule is a great place to start. And as I mentioned, it's important to take a look at how much promotional content am I posting on social media. You do not want to be the travel advisor who only shows up to sell. You want to be the travel advisor who's showing up and connecting. You want to be the travel advisor who's delivering value, who's giving really good insights, and it's getting people excited to work with you. And I would be remiss if I didn't remind you of the last thing on my checklist, which is consistency. Try to post at least 3 times per week, consistently on the same days so your audience knows to expect you. My recommendation is that you post once per day. The more you post, the more people you reach. The more you post, the more opportunities you have for engagement. It's simply a numbers game, but quality is really important as well. So if you know that you can only show up on social media 3 times per week with quality content, then only show up on social media 3 times per week. But the important thing is that you are building in consistency. And there are a few ways to do that. That goes back to my first point of deciding how you're going to show up on social media. That's the first one on the content strategy checklist, but also laying the foundation to help yourself be consistent. So picking a day to schedule your content, picking a day to create your content. Those are all things you can do to break down those roadblocks that may be stopping you from showing up consistently. So there you have it. There's my 20-part mile-long checklist to help you audit your Instagram profile. I promise you, it will only take you about 20 minutes. Once you do this audit, I recommend showing up to Instagram with a notebook or a Google Doc or something to take notes, because chances are once you perform this audit, you're gonna have a thing or two that you wanna work on to improve your profile. I can't wait to see how dynamite your Instagram profile looks after you've completed this checklist. Now, I want to give you a little bit of a hand with your social media content. Head on over to travelagentcollective.com/bundle and download my 10 days of social media content. It's got a calendar to keep you on track with posting. It has 10 days of content, a few Instagram story bonuses in there as well, but you're going to get writing prompts and you're going to get images. So for 10 days, 10 beautiful, blissful days, all you have to do is post the content that I've given you, and you can sit back and relax and enjoy. If we haven't connected yet on Instagram, I would love to see you over at Travel Agent Collective. It gives me so much pleasure connecting with travel advisors all across the world. Happy posting, and I will catch you on the flip side.